welcome again to another episode of the 12 Nights of Christmas. And for this episode, we're doing The Santa Claus. Now, I was actually really happy to find a Blu-ray copy. I actually still have the original DVD copy of the special edition of this, and I must say, this was a lot of fun to watch. Why? Because it just works, man. I mean, totally. Tim Allen does a great job here of portraying just Santa Claus, a guy who basically becomes Santa Claus. That's the whole point of the movie, which is why it's called the Santa Claus, which I think is kind of a unique point here. Basically, that's what, in this universe, Santa is. He's a Claus to become Santa Claus. And it works so well. Sorry, it's a little hot in here. So anyways, what do I think of the movie? Very good still. The first movie is, not the most groundbreaking in terms of a few things, but what it did was it really gave us this unique feel of what it would be like if you were a Santa Claus. And it did a very good job. Now, when we meet him for the first time, he's this almost workaholic guy. Big corporate business. Makes money. That's his whole stick. He's divorced from his wife. His son is coming over for Christmas. That's pretty serious in my opinion. We even see him trying to do a Christmas dinner. It's so hilarious. And I love the kids' response. Those flames are pretty high. It's okay. And then he's like, okay, let's go to Denny's. And it just sets the tone. And then eventually, he encounters the older Santa Claus on the roof, I might add, trying to get the toys in, and the guy slips and falls off the roof. I mean, something so simple. And I've actually, with my job, I've worked on people's roofs, and I can tell you that there are some roofs where you don't want to walk on them. And this is just to get to the dude's chimney. I mean, my God. So after that, he sees the guy and he takes off. He pulls back the coat and he's got the card. Put on the suit. The reindeer will know what to do. But of course, we later find out that all the fine print is literally what you thought was this little just etching is the fine print text. You need like almost a magnifying glass, like 3 or 4 to read it. And that becomes sort of the clause for each one of the films. And I have all 3, but I'm only reviewing this one for this year. I love it because it sets him up so well. And we see after this night, and the last house he delivers at on the first night of being Santa Claus, when he's still slim and stuff. It's funny, he's like, to all a good night, and I'm getting a CAT scan. I don't blame him. I would be saying the same thing. Yeah, I'm getting a CAT scan. Beep you. But it's a kid's movie. Still, this is mostly an adult review, but I'm still going to refrain from doing certain questionable language. The finger thing was the most I'm going to do here. But anyways, I love how we see him trying to adjust to becoming Santa Claus. The feelings that come over him, the fact that he is settling into the job. I mean, there's a scene where he's, pretty plump, and he's literally doing the Santa Claus thing for kids in this playground. His ex-wife and her new husband, who, by the way, happens to be a psychiatrist, are constantly worried about the son, because he's envisioning this, and the film just keeps building on that point. Eventually, we get to him, losing custody of his son, and then he goes to the North Pole. The son goes with him, too, by the way, which means he's now a wanted person for kidnapping, even though technically he didn't kidnap him. And in fact, one of the lines in the movie is, you have a year to get your affairs in order. It's almost like you're dying because you're becoming Santa Claus. I mean, it's just so thing. And they play on some of these points. It's really funny, like, he's making a list. The kid's like checking it twice, and all the elves join in. Going to find out who's naughty and nice. I just love it. This was one of my favorite movies, as well as my mom. She had this every year at Christmas on, with the Grinch and some others, it made sense. And it's still a good movie. I totally recommend it for you. I totally think you should see it. And definitely check out the sequels again later on as well. I love how they built it up. It was good world building, and it worked so well. And many of these actors were very memorable. And a couple got to come back for recurring roles. Now, the elves they did make into kids, so you didn't always get the same actors back, I'm sorry to say, okay? Remember, some of these kids, they're growing up. I totally understand that. But you did get a couple of people who were able to come back for more than one role. Totally understandable. And the casts for each one of these films is very unique. If I remember correctly, I think Michael Dorn plays the Sandman in the sequel. I'm not going to say any more about that. But there was a great feeling here, a great design. I love how they're like, tinsel. It's not just for decorating anymore. And this one dude is stuck in it. So I was like, oh, can I have some of that tinsel? They did a very good job. It felt very good. And then, of course, at the end, everybody's like going, holy crap, he is Santa Claus. And they just play on those jokes so well. And this is what helps make it a better film, in my opinion. There's even like a little tiny, I didn't even know these were real, a weenie whistle from Wiener. Like the Oscar Mayer Wiener. Whistles that look like the Wienermobile. And I've seen the Wienermobile a couple of times, the Wienermobile. And it's just so well. And that's the other thing. It plays on everybody's nostalgia. That's why I recommend the movie. It is an 8 out of 10. I highly recommend it. I recommend you go see it. And I really need to get out of this helmet. It is stuffy. Oh God, how do stormtroopers do it? Anyways, like and subscribe. And yes, I have to review the Rise of Skywalker. God help me.